when they begin to weather the storms or take the punches that life throws at them, as opposed to running from these things because they're scaredy or relying on other people to solve or face the problems for them, they'll start doing it themselves. So this video right here is probably going to be the most important video I have made thus far. Basically, it's about instilling confidence, the right attitudes, self-reliance and independence within children within our lives, whether they are our own children, nieces, nephews, etc, etc. As you're obviously aware, the developmental stages are probably the most important years of their lives, and what they learn in such years they take over into their teenage years and also into their adult lives as well. So if we're not instilling the right principles, attitudes, values, etc, etc in kids, it's going to have negative effects on them in their teenage years, because children, like everyone else, will eventually go through stormy seasons within their lives, and if they don't have the right strength, the right mental attitudes, and if they are not self-reliant, they will struggle to go through such phases within their lives. So the other day, the light bulb in my toilet went out, right? My little nephew was in the house. My father went up to try and change the light bulb. He had a little step ladder. There was 2 steps on the ladder. He climbed up, tried to change the light bulb, couldn't fix it. He left the ladder underneath the light. My little nephew was kind of following him around, looking at what he was doing. My father asked me to keep an eye on my nephew. He had to run back downstairs, and my nephew was looking at the step. I could tell by him that he wanted to climb up on them, but he was afraid to do so. So what I done is I grabbed underneath his armpits. I said, let's go, we're gonna climb up. And he was a bit nervous. He wanted to do it, very, very nervous. But so I says, just put your foot up on the 4th step. Now he's about 3.5 years of age, so still in that kind of timid kind of phase. So he put one foot up onto the step I had him, and I says, right, put the other foot up. And he tried to lift. He was leaning back onto me kind of, and as soon as his foot came off the ground, he put it right back down. He got really, really nervous. So I stayed with him for a moment. I says, you can do this, you can do this. He says, okay, I can do this, he's saying. So he ended up putting his foot up onto the step. Now when he had his 2 feet onto the step, so I had my hands under his armpits, he's kind of leaning back into me. I kind of pushed him forward. I said, grab on to the next step. So he grabbed onto the next step. I still had him. I said, right, we're going to climb up onto the next one. Start getting nervous, start getting frightened. I stayed with him, I assured him, and then he put his left right foot up onto the 2nd step. Same thing again, he's nervous. I'm telling him, put your other foot up, you can do this, you can do this. To cut a long story short, right, he eventually stood upright, had his 2 hands up in the air. He's looking at himself in the mirror to the left of him, saying, yes, I done this, right? And before I knew it, he was climbing down the steps on his own. He was climbing up the steps on his own, standing on the top, putting his hands up, calling his granddad up to look at him. He was jumping off the steps, so I was holding on to him off the 2nd step. So within the space of maybe 7-8 minutes, his attitude shifted straight away. He was very, very timid and frightened 7 minutes prior. 7 minutes after, his confidence within himself went up dramatically. That is going to go a long way with him in life. It's really going to serve him, not just that one event, but any time I have the opportunity to do things like that with him, or any kid that is in my life, I will do it. And I think the more that I do, and I encourage family members to do it with their kids or whatever else it may be, the more that kids are doing these things, they're learning how to kind of take incremental steps to overcome their fears and do things that they want to do but mightn't do due to fear. The more that they do this, the more of a confidence is going to build within them that they can do things even if they're afraid to do them. They can still do them, and when they do them, they know that they're going to feel great about themselves doing it. And before we know it, they'll be doing things by themselves. We won't need to say to them, right, we're going to do this. They'll look at something and say, right, I'm a bit afraid of that, but I know I'll enjoy doing it. Climbing over the wall, for example, outside of the front of my house. My nephew will be doing that soon. But things like that, they'll start doing these things by themselves because their confidence is increasing. They'll become more independent. They'll be less reliant on others to help them do X, Y, and Z. And that is going to serve them big time in life, that when they begin to weather the storms or take the punches that life throws at them, as opposed to running from these things because they're scaredy or relying on other people to solve or face the problems for them, they'll start doing it themselves, like that. And that'll build a resilience, a resiliency within them, a confidence within them, and as I said, a form of independence, and that is going to really help them. As you're obviously aware, in this day and age, Children are not doing things that children should be doing. Children weren't designed to sit on tablets all day every day. Children were designed to be active and interactive. There's a lot less of that in today's day and age, and that's only going to continue, and it may even worsen, and that's going to definitely have negative consequence for children's mental health as they age. So when they go into their teens and their early teens, they'll be weakened as a result of the way society's structured itself. If we don't do such things and develop their own strengths within them and increase their confidence and stuff. So it's really going to go a long way. So as I said, this is probably the most important video I've done. If you have children, I hope you don't take this video in the sense that someone who doesn't have children is trying to tell you what to do with your children, and because I don't have children. This video was more so just to share that experience that I had the other day and that I'll continue to have as a result of doing things with my nephew and other children that might be in my life, and to hopefully encourage you or motivate you to do the same if maybe you're not doing such things with your own children or relations and stuff like that. Think ahead, and when you look at your children or whatever it may be, the young ones, ask yourself, what will life be like for them in 20 years? I think it's going to be, things will get a little bit harder in terms of mental health amongst youth in the next 10 to 15 years, like that. So we can do what we can today, and we can prevent a lot of issues for them. But yeah, that's basically that. Anyways, I'm going to let you go. Take care. Talk soon.